Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the old world, where we continue on with the tournament, the Duels tournament that we are currently holding. And this is a match in the round 2 lower bracket between Jams and Marauder, who both lost their first games and are now vying for revenge, for a chance to keep competing in the tournament. Let me just check if there's something going on the Discord still. Nothing at the moment. Marauder got the First Nation pick while Jams got the map pick this time. And they have decided for these settings. Everything is pretty much the default. It's a coastal rain basin that is wide, so there is a decent amount of land between the players. Let's count the city sites, it's 3 and then 6 and 8 total. So 6 sites for each player and then 2 more contested for a total of 14, which is basically the default. And hello Fluffy. Let's see what Marauder decides to do. Oh, Carthage for Marauder. Going for an affable builder. Let me just mark this down. So it's a builder and affable. The Carthage. Let's see. For Jams, they have decided to go for Egypt. And that is a cultivator scholar builder. That's interesting. Jams definitely has a different approach to his lead epics. He has been one of the players that has went the most furthest off meta, or of the small meta that we have seen in this tournament so far. And opening with landowners for Egypt. And for Carthage, it's artisans. Interesting. These are fine, so let's grab this. Yeah, sorry. I'll turn off my Discord notifications. Oh, actually, just there we go. Let's see, the first turns here. We are currently on simultaneous, so I will be definitely missing stuff yet. This is a wide coastal rain basin. So it's the default map pick for most of the tournament so far. Let's see what Jams decided going for the first bar camp immediately, promoting for Fierce. Makes sense. I'm guessing he did not have any reasonable generals, so makes sense. While Carthage is scouting, has not found the first barbarians yet. I'm always interested in seeing how people are going for their scouting, so it looks like Carthage is when the Marauder is going for a circular scouting radius around their cap instead of beelining for any notable landmarks. So let's see the nation bonuses. I'm hovering over them here real quick so you can see is that Carthage gets some extra civics at the start of the game, and can hire mercenaries and gets extra money for connecting their cities. Of these, the civics are really nice for just getting stuff online earlier, whether that's laws or um, religions um, or theologies or even just rushing with the extra civics that you get left over. And mercenaries are the game-defining feature for Carthage because they can go to a tribal camp when it starts spawning units that are not on the camp itself, and they can buy them with money straight up, which means that Carthage can kind of cheat their early expansion by building a lot less military units than other nations would have to. And you can kind of see it here where the Slinger is just completely still, deciding to go for just building stuff with their builders. Guessing he won from an event. I don't think there has been enough time to get a second builder in 4 years. But yeah, Carthage is a really strong early expansion because of the mercenaries, so it's understandable why there is a good amount of picks for it. Well, Jams is playing Egypt. For Egypt, they're probably the most notable bonus is always the 400 stone that Egypt gets right at the game start, because it lets them start a wonder really early. The farm bonus is of course nice, but it's not quite as game defining in the same way. There's a nice bonus for adjacent improvements for building them next to each other as well, so it's a good economic civilization or nation with basically no war bonuses inbuilt. They do come with a really good unique unit though. Let's see. Deciding to go for administration. Let's see if Jams has anything marked yet. No. But not going for early shrines is kind of interesting. I'm guessing it's to leverage their cultivator bonus early on. Because this I actually quite like this cultivator early on a farm start with landowners, because these all end up having quite a bit of yields. I'm not sure if 2 is enough by themselves. I think if there were 3 farmers, I'd really like this play. But it's interesting nonetheless. Set layout going for the city site already. For Carthage, they are behind on clearing their barbs, but they are moving their settler to the far back site. Let's see what kind of resources we have here. Wine, honey, and citrus all are land consolidation resources, so I would not be super surprised to see players go for that relatively early on, especially on these wider maps where the conflict is not quite as quick as on some other versions it can be. Speaking of Egypt's stone bonus, let's see what wonders are in the game. Ziggurat for those nice extra flat civics and improvement costs, definitely a nice one. Oracle, I'm not sure how I feel about Oracle. Is a lot worse in duels as it scales with the number of players, basically. Considering that with fewer players there are fewer religions in the game, with not with only 2 players founding pagan religions. Hanging Gardens, just a decent amount of growth. This is basically the same amount of growth that you get from running Freedom early on. So it's not nothing, but I do find it a bit expensive to build early on. So the most notable thing is that there's nothing, there's no pyramids in the game yet, so that's usually the iconic Egyptian rushed wonder. Though I do really like rushing an early ziggurat if I can get the stone for it, because it doesn't take too long for the improvements costs to pay themselves back. if you count the 20 civics as well as a bonus. Jams deciding on what city to find here. Going for sages. Does make a lot of sense to me, considering that there's not really anything that would indicate going riders in the city. Sages are basically the least terrain dependent family that Egypt has, so I do like the pick. Unfortunately, there's no German aqueduct in the game, so there's no opportunity for sages to get a huge farm synergy thing going with it. On Carthage's side, we have Statesman founded down here, also a reasonable pick. I'm guessing that these nets weren't showing when the city was founded. I would always be somewhat interested in founding traders whenever I see even a single sea resource that is not fish. But let me mark this up as well. So going for statesmen and sages. Yep, and here you can see this is the biggest advantage that Carthage gets in the early game. Is just you can just buy one of these horsemen, get your 1-star Slinger with no upgrades, no generals, and clear a camp in a couple of turns. It does cost a decent amount of orders to operate these units over time, but of course you start getting some upkeep as well for them, but it is still very nice. A bit unfortunate for Carthage though is that there's only one Trajan site here, which will probably get cleared before Carthage can buy any mercs from them. And because he is at war with Scythians, the buying mercenaries costs extra from them. So as Carthage, it's really nice to have one tribal nation as relatively friendly, so you can really get more units for your money you put in. Still taking administration. Nothing marked here. Egypt Queen for husbandry. There is a horse in the cap, so it makes some sense at least. I would not be super surprised to see a spoked wheel at some point. Getting for Egypt, especially getting this free chariot or free unique unit here is really valuable. No laws yet for Egypt. Did go for vassalage for Carthage. I'm not really sure if I like vassalage this early on. If you look at the bonuses from this is I assume this is not a huge amount of. Yeah, this is probably just mine +2 food and +1 gold at the moment, while this would be +2 science, which is a lot of science this early on in the game. Vassalage does become really amazing once you get enough units, and especially when you start going to war, marching units outside your borders, marching a lot of units outside your borders, where you start saving, especially the training saving that you get from that over time is really nice. Let's see. Carthage already has a paganism with the. This one is the resource shrine, makes sense between two resources here. See court members. No children yet. Some interesting choices here. I'm always tempted by free stats, but in this case I don't think. Well, you probably could even take the penalty opinion hit here, but 40 turns is a long time. For Egypt, Jams is definitely playing a bit faster than Marauder at the moment. Has met both drivers as well. Not even married yet. Ah, there we go. Oh, interesting. An opportunity to marry the Scythians. Let's see. The first, yeah, the both contested sites are Scythian sites, so I'm not sure if you take that. Yeah, decided to turn the Scythians down. Makes a lot of sense to me. Interesting that Jams is also going for a rather greedy, starting with not building any military units yet. Just as the starting warrior building farmer specialist workers here. I guess he can delay a bit and send the next settler that he builds down here. But I do really like getting a second military unit as soon as possible. So you can start clearing the barbarians nearby. Just so that they have less time to spawn as additional units. Fighting a 2 barb camp is much easier than fighting a 4 barb camp. Which I would not be surprised if Gems has to fight at least one of these camps when it already has 4 units on it. Meanwhile, Carthage does get the benefit of being Carthage and just cleared this one for free. Starting up mines. I'm guessing he doesn't. Yeah, Carthage doesn't start with stone cutting. Which makes this administration text make a bit more sense than to me. Just for the like passing up divination, or rather not deciding to go for shrines. Oh wait, what did they actually pick over this? I think I saw that he could have gone for stone cutting before administration, which I do really consider a high priority early on, just to get your shrines up without having to spend a huge amount of money on it. Super early monasticism offered, but deciding to go for rhetoric. Beelining straight administration to rhetoric. I do wonder what the plan here is. I'm guessing that it's just for the laws. At least it is more reasonable than going for monasticism or even military drill before having stone cutting. And went for riders as the third family. This would have been a nice landowner spot as well with the double farm resource. I'm guessing that he will try to grab the elephants here and just start building Carthaginian unique units from this city as well. Which is like, yeah, it makes sense. I think this is the only elephant on the map. Yeah. Can't see any in the middle cities as well, so makes sense. It's definitely a good play. I wonder how much money he has actually spent on these mercenaries. I know that he has this one more nomad and one regular marauder living up to his own name. Meanwhile, Jams is just ecoing up. But we still have no generals. Yeah. Definitely a downside of founding your both two economic or focused families first is the fact that you don't really get any generals. Clearing early on with any general is a lot more convenient than having to slowly chip away within up on without a generalist unit. Especially heroes are really nice for speeding up the early game. Meanwhile, Carthage going up for another camp. Yeah, no beelines marked yet. So let's take a look at the map itself. We only need to look at one side because this is completely mirrored from the midline onwards. So for river networks, you can get easy access to the sea, but this is quite a bit of roading that you need to do to actually connect to the center sites. Really common for coastal rain basin are these rivers that flow from the mountains on top to the sea on the bottom. But this might is even a bit bigger of a cap than there usually is. So definitely there's a lot of value in roading early. No rivers at the middle at all, which is quite rare actually, but does make the middle quite interesting. One really flat area that has just a lot of landowners' resources basically. Just a lot of food, some civics, nothing spectacular. But really flat, very good for the Egyptian unique units or horse units in general when they can just ride over the plains, go where they want to go. And then for basically the opposite is this um, hilly city on the northern side between hills and the forest and the mountains, which is this city looks like it will be really difficult to attack into for whichever player decides to grab it first. Will have a rather big defensive advantage. Interesting that this gems did not get mirrored, but I'm guessing it's so close to the center that it's fine that it's not completely symmetrical for the two center sites. Yeah. Egypt will also have to go for riders as their only military family that they have left. I would be surprised to see them go clerics, though clerics is a half of a military family. Let's see where I can actually see this. Um, Clerics get extra commanders and zealots, so it's not a completely economically focused family. So I guess it would be possible to go for them as well. But for horses, there actually are a decent amount of horses on the map from what I saw. One in the capital, really nice for Egypt especially. Carthage gets a bit less bonus from that. Needing elephants for the unique unit. Only one elephant as we saw earlier in the Carthaginian rider seat nearby. Carthage already going for acolytes. Do they actually have a second shrine up anywhere? There's only one here. Yeah, only one shrine. There's the second one going up here, makes sense. Here at the city side. So Carthage is city clearly going for Zoroastrianism. Does get founded when you get your second acolyte. will have it pretty soon, already has the civics if he wants to immediately adopt it as state religion. Makes a lot of sense to me. Getting that free culture and in your cities is really nice, as well as the possibility to go for monasteries and get the science that way. Gems slowly chipping away at the barbs here. Unfortunate that did not go for the cover tile here, so we'll take the extra damage from the unit in the camp itself. Guessing it's called a barbarian hovel and not a camp, but I'm far too used to just calling all of those barbarian sites as camps at this point. The nice thing about these wood tiles here is that if the Zoroastrianism does spawn in 10A, it is so much easier to get the specialists, or rather the acolytes from this city and spreading them everywhere. There have been a decent amount of games where the religion has started in the military family seat and has just been stuck there because building acolytes in your military cities has just such a high opportunity cost. Ascot Air now. Too young to be much of note yet, though. I do quite like the going for a horse unique unit nation with the guaranteed horse in your capital. It's quite nice for jams. This clearing will take a long time now, unfortunately for him. Yeah, retreating makes a lot of sense to me. He did have a warrior in the queue here, but decided to go for a settler instead. Cancelled the, or rather moved the settler back to the production queue. Deciding to go for the backside. It is though that James's fourth city will be really late from what it looks. This site won't be cleared before it even gets a fourth unit in it. Meanwhile, Carthage cleared this site with just one boat merc and a slinger. Has settlers in queue for 2 sites. Yeah, just buying mercs over here. Carthage has still not produced a single military unit. Actually, 3rd settler in queue as well. So he's just spending all this money on buying these barbarians. Getting these strength 3 units is really cheap to start with. Yep. I am somewhat curious why Carthage did not go for traders early on to get even more money coming in to get this merc sport. But I'm guessing that it's because the builder gives you enough income, gold income, just by themselves to just afford all the mercs that you want to buy anyways. And I'm guessing that these water resources were not in view well when this city was settled. Carthago is already at developing thanks to the artisan family bonus. It is the artisan family seat is such the to build urban improvements is so nice to get. it's something that you don't really tend to think about when picking the family because it's only for the family seat, and it's something that doesn't really take like how would you say it? Like processing power. You don't really need to think about it. It just happens. It's not like the landowner seed bonus where you have to spend money to buy tiles, which is already also really, really powerful, but it requires much more conscious effort to get use of, while the artisan bonus is just there in the background. But this 4 culture per year is a really nice bonus for getting your city is able to rush. Does give extra value to the statesman as well, getting the extra civics production, the extra orders to just rush stuff out. Really, where does it seems like there is a difference in orders already. Yeah, but it's only one order, so it's not really super notable. I was kind of curious because I know that Jams has done a pretty good job of scouting over to Carthage, so he should have gotten the opportunity to name a lot of these landmarks. While Carthage is still also has probably scouted more of the map but has not found Jams yet. So he does not really know what the opponent is doing. Interesting. This a well, it is a cultivator is quite nice, but cultivator and commander is mostly wasted, or rather completely wasted. It is mildly terrifying though that this Carthaginian scout is already at the middle Scythian camp, so if Carthage wants to spend the money, they can just buy this Marauder here, or a nomad skirmisher, and then by the second one that spawns clears the camp and already be at the halfway point at year 20 or something. It's this is the reason why I'm interested in seeing if I could make orators work in an opening somehow. So I could play Carthage, get the Carthage bonus without not playing Carthage. I do like this repositioning though. It's making the best of a bad situation. Still no possible generals for Egypt. Makes it clear and really awkward. This Marauder living with just half an HP is very awkward. Well, thankfully it solved the problem itself, so did not end up mattering. And I believe we have swapped over to tight turn timers. There was an agreement for 15 turns of simultaneous at the game start, and the players have decided to go for that instead of extending it. One thing I'm curious is that I saw Carthaginian scouts are harvesting a lot of these pasture resources. So yeah, no, did not has not gotten the event that gives you a free mounted unit bonus in your rider's family seat. I know that that's one of the events that I tend to farm if I can by just harvesting horses until that event fires. One of the few ones that I do remember having really good bonuses. Oh, but Mysterious Sword on your king or queen in this case is rather nice. I do wonder that if when the second part of that event fires and it turns into the Sword of the Gods, whether the queen will take field to clear the barbarians. Yeah, there's no Swift on College Rule. There is one on. No, it's not even on the Egyptian ruler either. But I really tend to like the one that gives you extra EXP on your mounted units. If I'm not having if my king or queen isn't a fighting archetype or but rather a builder or a scholar or something along those lines. Oh, this not having a state in your right city is really unfortunate. But Grendel is nice. I always try to figure out a uh, good reason to grab these estates if I can. Not because they are good, but I just like it. I like the extra free culture that I don't need to think about. Yeah, Swift. I do really like Swift early as well, but I'm too greedy. I always. There we go. This is a really interesting decision actually, because you can get the free legitimacy and then some culture per year by putting it on display. Just selling it, this I don't think. Well, the money income is quite low, but it's still not super nice. But this one is the spiciest one usually. This is an amazing event if you have a early leader that is still trying to clear mob camps, and even after when you go to fighting, it's still really good. Is this plus 50% against the infantry units? It's a super good bonus if you can get it. It looks like Jams. Yeah, he got the legitimacy and then the shrine instead of getting it on the queen and going fighting against the barbs with it. I think the combat bonus is so strong that I would just take my leader out of the. Wait, what is? Yeah, she is the governor, as I thought. So I would have just given her the sword and put the queen on this warrior here and just started clearing these camps. Yeah, it's really hard to understate or overstate. I never remember which way that saying goes, but it's really hard to like 50% against infantry units is so much when you're clearing these regular barbs and penetrations, and like you can just like this unit would go from dealing where is it? Is it actually 10 damage? Yeah, I guess it actually is 10 damage. But this would be like 12, 13 damage, even more maybe, just because of how big the proportional difference is. I know Alcaraz has the math memorized. I know that Sion probably also knows the math, or at least intuits the math, even if he doesn't know the numbers off the top of his head. But I have. I never remember which one is which. Which I should, because I did listen to the coverage that Alcaraz did with Filthy, and they had this whole segment on the or segment on the mathematics on how combat actually works. Oh, is there something going on with the audio? Let's see. I'll just. I know that there's something funky with. Yeah, there's something funky going on with my mute toggles at sometimes. Yeah, but as I was saying, cartridge is going for spoke wheel, which I do really like for cartridge, especially because this card for the bonus light chariot is really nice. Getting a 6 strength unit with 4 movement is really nice. Helps you a lot with clearing. Does already have navigation for the extra orders as Egypt. This is so many taxon. I'm guessing that he has gotten something from events. We can probably check here. Oh, Egypt does have a pretty big science lead as having a scholar leader. Has a well, not almost the double science compared to Carthage. Does make sense. Yeah, I did not have the presence of mind to check what it got for what Egypt got as the free tech you get from finding sages. But I know that these are the starters for Egypt. He takes husbandry administration, so I'm wondering if he might have actually gotten navigation as the free tech. Does not have the civics to actually adopt it, so is not benefiting from the extra orders yet. There is a really good like heuristic or a rule to follow if you're not 100% on what to do is just beeline for navigation. It's really difficult to go wrong by beelining navigation. You tend to be order constrained anyways in the early game, and navigation is the easiest way to get a lot of orders early on. I would not be surprised to see, well, I would be surprised to see Portcullis, but either of these are good choices. Zoroastrianism did get founded. Oh, Carthage, as I figured. Did spawn in the Statesman seat, which is quite nice. Does get the family opinion up pretty quickly. Yeah, I did go for the chariot. Let's get the culture up so this city can just start pumping decrease if Marauder decides to go for it. Just spending civics to get orders is always nice in the statesman capital. Unfortunately, this city doesn't really have any sources of extra orders in it, so it's not like it's a double marble statesman seat or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, and I do agree with what Sion is saying. That is, yeah, instead of getting the sword kill cult building down, you could get the plus 50% against the infantry units on your leader. Put the leader on the free chariot and just go mop up all these infantry units. It's a similar plan that as we saw in one of the previous games where a player rushed for the free chariot that you get as Hati and put their schemer leader, or was it a zealot leader on it, just cleared the nearby camps basically alone with a single unit. I do like this though, getting spoke wheel and then getting a free chariot immediately. Going for treasuries, workers, farmers, clearing this camp. This is taking a surprisingly long time. Might even lose this one unit here, because this got upgraded to an elite skirmisher with 4 strength, while this is still a default one with 3, so just do a good amount of damage. Please. This attacking over this river is a waste of orders, to be honest. But he has not moved yet. probably deciding if it's worth the orders. Marauder does have 2 settlers just waiting while he is slowly clearing this camp here. Yeah, I consider that the one of the bigger advantages you get from that you actually have from using chariots to get clear above camps isn't really the combat strength, which is nice, but it's the because they move at double speed basically. So you get the extra movement lets you just get to the camp so much quicker that you actually save a decent amount of orders just from more movement. Let's see, is there any good opportunities for a chancellor? I don't. None of these are like straight jump at me immediately. 27 gold is not nothing, but it's not game breaking. I would not probably it'll probably take a good while until this chancellor spot is filled with both slavery freedom and colonies serfdom being open to pick. It's hard to justify not going for one of these laws before anything else. Yeah, I think this is the 5th unit from this camp already. Very slow clearing for jams. Meanwhile here, one unit died. I don't think this unit attacked last turn. But it can be cleared now, this Bob camp. Getting an upgrade on the king. Lots of good choices here. I think eloquent and inspiring are the ones that I would pick between. Islander is nice, but it's only nice if you start actually fighting over this hill here. Yeah, there we go. Cleared site. Let's take a quick look at the charts. So Carthage getting double growth at the moment over Egypt. Lots more civics, makes sense with statesmen on the roster. Trading, Carthage leading, happiness, well, hardly matters. Science, Egypt still has a big advantage, but it's a big advantage that is not growing anymore. Carthage is actually slowly catching up. Money, Carthage leading, makes sense. Carthage does get some free money and has a builder leader. Wood, Carthage leading, Iron, Carthage leading, Stone, Egypt leading, but Egypt also has their starting stone, so it's even more pronounced than this would show. And wood is down, of course. Military score is probably not really important at the moment. We can basically see all the units on the screen still. So it's a while until the conflict will actually fire up between these players. Oh, unfortunate. Carthage did not select the leader upgrade in time, so he got Cultivator by a default, I believe. I don't think he would have picked this if he actually noticed the options available. A bit unfortunate, but what can you do? It's not like it's completely wasted or anything with these farms in the capital. Meanwhile, Carthage, Egypt did get intelligent of an event. So that's a nice bit of extra science if he can actually get this third city founded at some point. I'm really curious if players will actually go for land consolidation at some point with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's that one in capital? 7 land consolidation resources in the four closest city spots, basically. So there's a good amount of value in land consolidation. Carthage finally finishing stone cutting. Still not no iron working. I am quite confused by Carthage's the tech path that Carthage decided to go for. Going for immediate administration and immediate rhetoric. It is a good amount of laws, but I think I would always want to go for the upper path for navigation if I can. Gets you closer to phalanx as well. Gets you the slavery and freedom. Gets you these two laws. Well, these are just get you to metaphysics and sovereignty, which are you get lots of laws from these, but it's not really something that actually gets you any closer to ramping up your military production. Yeah, founding statesman here. I would really also like to see a disciple coming from here, from this city and moving up to Carthage or even the... What's this city getting? Oh, interesting. Then I did go for the estate here. So it's minus 6 military from per turn from here on this estate. Minus 6 trading, but plus 6 culture and 2 orders. So this city is actually worse at building military units than his other cities, with just this per plus 4 instead of the plus 8 that these other cities have. So I'm guessing that he is just deciding that this city will just get to high culture as soon as possible and then just rushing every unit instead of building them here. Interesting. I think I'm not like this is a solid play. I don't hate it, but I don't think I could go for a negative 6 rating on my military family seat. Especially when I have some extra shrines available, so I could just plop down a shrine and build it down there. Some extra units out for Egypt now. Still hasn't settled the backside. And no settlers in queue. I know that there was one in Vasset. Oh, what's this? This it looks cursed. Scout, settler, ranchers, worker, settler. None of them have any production put into them either. The rancher is fine. I think it's good to get your ranchers up when you know the map. You do see that there's Judaism is available. So I don't hate the ranchers, especially in a landowner city. I wouldn't even hate buying this horse here and putting a second rancher there, but this is such a long queue. Let's see, family opinions. Everybody loves the king of Carthage, so no problems here. Even though Zoroastrianism isn't really too hot with the king, but none of the families are Zoroastrian yet, so it's not a huge deal. For Egypt, only 2 families still, only 2 cities still, so not much family opinion to talk of. But the advantage in cities, I think, is starting to be a bit overwhelming already. Carthage already is 1 turn from clearing this site, would have their 6th city. Can just move these 2 units down here, buy one of these, get 7th city, go for the 8th city, while Egypt is still on 2 cities. We'll have their 3rd city in 3 turns, maybe? I don't think they can clear this in 2 yet. So there's just a lot more build queues available for Carthage than there is for Egypt. This is definitely showcasing the power of how Carthage can expand really quickly. Actually, does... Oh, Carthage does not know where this tribal site here is. It's still completely covered in fog, and all these units are perfectly positioned not to reveal themselves. So he's actually scouting with this slinger down here to see if he can spot any units. Oh, the chariot did come out because, and also it's because it's a Egyptian light chariot, so it can just march over from the capital and just get to the combat immediately. Very strong units, these light chariots. You will kind of work as scouts with the extra vision. Interesting. Yeah, Carthage did adopt serfdom, but still are lacking the civics to get into either freedom or labor force, or rather slavery. One of the labor force laws. Meanwhile, Carthage going for stone boost makes a lot of sense. Let's take a second to get these wonders. This city site is conquered now. For wonders, Ziggurat Oracle, Hanging Gardens. I like the Ziggurat, but it's just because I am a sucker for long-term bonuses to improvement, building, getting this extra, or rather minus 20% cost is quite nice. And the 20 civics is already also nice, would double the income. For developing Necropolis, Ishtar is always a highlight, especially if you can get this kind of rapid expansion. Would push. I would not be surprised to see a 8th city Ishtar for Carthage at some point. Necropolis is nice, but nothing super amazing. Apatana, nice for saving your money. I would not be much better for Egypt than Carthage, I assume, for the because Carthage gets some extra money from their nation abilities. Jebel Barkal is just gets temples, but this game looks like neither player would have multiple world religions before Christianity at least. Mausoleum, nice, just solid combat bonus on it. Extra orders from Acropolis is nice. Civics, extra levels on new units. Probably, I don't think Colossus would be built this game because none of these further forward cities are really coastal and want to build that many military units. If this city had the elephants or something, then I could see there being value in a Colossus. And then, of course, the museum, the 50% science bonus is very noticeable, and if you want to rush for high science. And then Heliopolis, lots of shrines, Colosseum, lots of training as swordsmen, so we probably got the 2 most game-defining legendary wonders in the game at the same time, with the Heliopolis and the Colosseum. Just the bonus that you get from all cities giving you, or rather all shrines giving you 1 order per year is just a... This might be the single biggest source of orders in the entire game, if I had to guess. This maybe like you might get more just from legitimacy, but that's not even like it's close, and that says a lot. And of course, the free swordsman, the extra training per population is just a huge amount of military power that you get from the Colosseum. So there is definitely a lot of value in going um, for a legendary culture city at some point, which does give you a decent bit of extra value for this artisan family seat as your first city. Ah, sorry. I do. Thanks for the reminder. This is Marauder versus Jams. There we go. Title should be correct now. Might need you to refresh the stream to see it update, but it should be correct. There's also the third city. Did go for riders, which makes a lot of sense just because getting the extra promotion on your mounted units when you have a mounted unit as your unique unit is a lot of free values to leave up. I would not have been super surprised to see clerics either, to be honest. Especially with with Heliopolis in the game, is the getting like extra synergy from going pagan religion can be really nice if you can get your legendary culture and go that route. Let me just update this so it's riders for Egypt as well. There we go. Oh, unfortunate. Getting the event where your philosophy student child it does not want to be or is not good at philosophy. Marauder was first pick and decided to go for Carthage, and Jams was the second pick. Oh, nice. Always nice to get a free conversion to the religion you founded. Did go for epics instead of exploration. It's usually a lot of the value from you get from exploration is from the river mobility that you get. But on these coastal rain basin maps, this river system is one of the worst ones I've seen on a coastal rain basin map. They tend to always flow from north to south towards the sea. But in this case, like even this city is not connected, and this would take what 3, 6, 7 turns of roading, 8 turns of roading to get these other river network connected. So this is a very bad map for the exploration mobility, which also gives some extra value for going for labor force early on. Carthage can kind of cheat it by just buying the units right next to the camp instead of actually moving units there. So it's not the huge problem now, but it will definitely be impactful once players start actually fighting. Choice to educate the air would be interesting to see. This is the decision, yeah, going for philosophy student again. So both players have philosophy student airs, so they are not going for super early fighting. It's not like there would be a zealot air for one player where you would be almost certain that there would be some kind of aggressive maneuvers going on. 25 years of reign for both rulers, I assume. Yeah. Still no available generals for this chariot. does not feel, always feels a bit awkward when you have to clear go for such a long time without having any generals available. Oh, divination, nothing marked yet. Though Egypt is in a spot where they could go for basically anything at this point. Oh, it is actually, there's monasticism is marked, so I'm assuming that it's the intention is to grab Judaism and then go for monasteries. I'm not just sure that if Carthage will give enough time and space for Egypt to do so. Meanwhile, Carthage did grab iron working, so I would not be surprised to see navigation next. Did decide to go for husbandry. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 1 here, 1 here, so for 3 pastures. I guess it's worth it at this point already. I would like to see some roading pretty soon though. Actually, let's see, Carthage has not seen this tribal site here yet, but does know about this city with this scout. But this is the furthest that Carthage has scouted this game. He can infer basically most of what's behind there, just because of the mirrored map. But it would always be nice to see what Egypt has actually done. Meanwhile, Egypt has had this scout standing in this forest for a long time. Did get moved forwards a bit. But the rider's seat makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Does this? Yeah, there's the Zoroastrian disciple coming now. Building set. Yeah, I was wondering why he's building settlers in the Rider Sea, but this Rider Sea is so bad at trading, so it makes a lot of sense because of this estate. It's actually better at building settlers and other growth units than it is at building military units. Second mounted unit on the field. This is just a regular chariot. But does mean that he can get a bit of extra value by route chaining next turn. Still, he must have had some unfortunate rolls with the landowners. They do have 5 times the chance for tacticians, but he hasn't had a single landowner's family member that could have worked as a general. Unfortunate for Carthage as well that they don't have any courtiers to tutor their heir, so will not be a super nice one. Let's see. I do find it always funny when they are just workers chilling in swamps. Taking that 1 point of HP already slows down your um, your building speed by 1 turn, so it's always better to leave the worker 1 tile behind instead of moving it into the swamp. You lose the 1 turn you gain from moving forwards by just needing to heal anyways. Let's actually check the science graph. I assume, yeah, Egypt is still leading. Egypt is getting a lot of value from the intelligent ruler at the moment. I'm wondering if Carthage will also go for Judaism with his husbandry pick. I'll try to block Judaism. Could adopt Zoroastrianism as state religion, but is deciding against it. I wonder if he wants to. Well, I do hope that he actually spreads with his disciple instead of enacting a theology, because he does have dualism available because of the resurrect that he went for. Going for the early theology is always tempting, but I don't, and it's so relying on your natural spread is just not a reasonable thing to expect to happen. Let's see. Let's show Egypt as erudite. Okay, we can check the total science. Yeah, it's the Egypt is leading by 250-ish science, assuming that both players have gotten somewhat similar amounts from events. This seems greedy, moving the chariot towards the next camp instead of moving here, getting a route chain on this camp. I think I personally would have prioritized going for this camp first and then moving together with this light chariot to clear the southern one later on. I can... let's see. Did get a Chancellor from an event. A decent one. Not amazing, but it's a decent amount of both civics and gold. You can really tell how crunch for civics Egypt has been this entire game, because they start with the opportunity to pick one of slavery or freedom and they still haven't enacted either of them. Both this growth bonus would have been really nice, and this free stone and iron would have been really nice as well. Not quite as necessary for Egypt at the moment because they have a decent economy nonetheless, but it's hard to say no to free stuff anyways. Went for polis. I'd love to see land consolidation on this map for both players. This city side is already cleared. Building slingers. It's very responsible to have two queues. Like as a baseline is that when you have every third city building military units is a very reasonable amount of military production to have on at all times. So the military lead that Carthage already has will just keep on growing from what I see. I do wonder what the Carthage is going to spend all this iron on. With plus 72 at turn. They are not super close to anything that would use that much iron. Because they could go for labor force, but they went from husbandry, so it's not even phalanx. Could make the a hero. It's a bit early for a hero, probably. But being beta is not nice either, so it's. You will not be surprised to see either of these picked. Ruthless for your ambassador. I think I'd much rather always have the religion opinion in these smaller games rather than the tribe opinion. So Ruthless is not super nice as an option. Very interested to see what Carthage is stockpiling these civics for. Instead of adopting state religion. It's not like husbandry is going to give an extra law or anything, so. So we could take a look at the unique units for these nations. So it seems like a strength 8 unit timing is more likely than a strength 6 unit timing. So getting the Carthaginian unique unit is it's a elephant unit. Moves a bit slower than most mounted units too, but does have both rout and panic, which is a lot of battlefield control, or like shaping the battlefield that you can do with the unit. But you'd probably want to go for some sort of a ranged unit and some sort of a frontline melee unit to cover it as well. And you know that Egypt's unique unit is a chariot, a ranged chariot unit, so I think you would really like to have something that can deal with enemy cavalry, that can either be quick and go behind the enemy lines and try to route chain these somehow, or just spearmen. So if they overextend, you can punish them with spearmen as your endgame comp. So I would not hate seeing going for phalanx early on for either player. Meanwhile, there's the Egyptian mounted lancer with their super high movement and their ranged attack that can just go real far and do a lot of damage to, focus fire while go far, kill basically anything that is not protected behind some sort of a natural barrier or just a wall of units. So it's quite interesting always when you have these double mounted unit mirror matches, just to see what kind of a army composition the players will actually go for in the end game. The only problem that I always have with spears is that if you go for the spearman for phalanx, the infantry square is just so far away. And you can really notice that how the 5 strength spearman is kind of flimsy once you start hitting the later mid game, where there's a lot of 6 strength units on the field, either Either the strength 6 unique unit or some macemen even. Macemen especially. This is... yeah, it's the queen to be. Can select their archetype now. Always interesting to see which one card it will pick. I think I'd rather go for Judge myself. I think. Yeah, there's this open plane in the middle lower part of the map that is very good for mounted units, especially for the Egyptian ones with the extra movement. The Carthaginian elephant is also benefits from having open terrain, but because its movement is so much lower that it suffers comparatively less from having to fight on hilly terrain, and then also benefits comparatively less from the flat terrain. Lots of settlers. Let's actually take a look at the stats. Mostly for workers produced is 6 for Carthage, 2 for Egypt. Military units. Carthage still has not built a single military unit, just relying on their mercenaries. And it is now starting to build slingers from what I last saw. Improvements controlled is the one that I was really interested in. Carthage just has a lot of urban or rather rural improvements with a couple of shrines. Thus, it's actually getting garrisons up from what it looks like here. While Egypt is pretty much the same, hasn't even built any shrines yet, so the culture is probably starting to fall behind as well. Nice. Jams leaving a note that he's worried about his Scythian courtier or Thracian courtier causing problems after wiping the Thracians out. It's only +0 opinion, so it's not like it's an angry courtier or anything, so I assume it will be fine. Actually, does Carthage have sight of this camp? Because it is kind of scary leaving this chariot here alone now. Because if Carthage wants to be really spicy, they can just buy these 2 Marauders here and just try to kill this chariot if they want to. I don't think it's doable with strength 3 units, but it's an interesting thought experiment at least. Unfortunately, you can't really do a combat preview with neutral units, so I'm not really sure how much this would actually do damage. Actually, can I? This is 3. Yeah, no, it's not quite enough range. Oh, I was wondering what this was, but a huge volcanic eruption. Lucky for Jazz that the scout was one tile back enough so it didn't die to the volcano. Interesting that there was devastation. Decided to get some money. Also made the air a zealot, so could start rushing with training now. Does even have a good amount of training banked up once the air comes of age. Though it could be a decent amount of time still. So it wouldn't be surprised to see Zoroastrianism being spread even more now. Going for urban specialists, I don't really. This is not or rather rural specialist, I don't really like these stone cutters that are just on regular quarries. This is just adjacency one quarry. I'd much rather see it somewhere else. Even grabbing this farmer specialist here and getting this spot would probably be nicer with the growth that we would get then. Yeah, and just deciding to spend his orders elsewhere instead of going for this camp immediately. Where are Cartridge's scouts? I know that there's one up here, but where's the other one from Riders? I'm guessing it died at some point. Because having eyes on this camp would be really nice. Still no Zoroastrianism adopt. Councillors fighting. But that's to be expected. Yeah, did go for the force march to get City Town one turn earlier. Interesting to see what family gems will go for here. If I had to guess, it would probably be landowners, I think. Unless he is planning to get these elephants at some point, to get some elephant units, but I'm not sure if that's on James's mind. Did go for riders. Does make some sense with these being the two forwardmost cities, so having your military family at the front is usually a safe bet. I'm just greedy enough where I see these double farm resources that I would be really tempted to pick landowners. Another nice thing though is because these cities are really far forward, roading to them takes quite a while, so these do count as connected with the riders. So he does not suffer the penalties from having unconnected cities from these forward ones. Same with Carthage as well with these two ones here. I would really like to see some roads from Carthage though, especially with the nation bonus of getting extra money from connecting your cities, aside from the movement bonus that you get from having a good road network. So grabbing one of these workers and just moving it forwards and roading all the way to this rider city here. Yeah, still offering state religion. Interesting. Developing culture event for an opulence project. Oh, interesting. Chance to get free centralization. I think it still would be good. Let's see what culture level to capitalize. Still developing, so it would be a plus for science, but at this point Carthage has enough of an army, and a lot of that army is outside of their borders, so Vasilis is probably a good amount of resource saving. Otherwise, a chance to become drunk. Not a terrible weakness, but an annoying one nonetheless. interesting to see which family the city will go to. Artisans. Yeah, makes sense. Not a super good city for any of Marauder's families, so going for artisans for the free culture is always nice. Husbandry in 1 turn for Carthage. Still, with Egypt having a pretty big lead in science, it's quite interesting to see what Carthage decides to go for next. Because when you're behind in science, every tech you pick has a bigger impact on your overall game. So I would not be surprised if it is spoke here, because it's the biggest reason why you would go for husbandry, in my opinion, is to get those chariots online. For Egypt, spawning of a wildfire as the only event. Getting settlers. Seems like there's a raid coming down. I think this unit is already far enough that it's outside the regular patrolling range from a Bob camp. Though it could be that the latest patch changed the Bob AI that they can actually march. What's this, 6 turns away from their camp. Let's get police in 1. This one is a bit harder to decipher, is it's how meaningful or how deliberate of a choice this is, because it could be just cycling to get through your options faster. I do find interesting how often players tend to avoid going for drama in these multiplayer games. I'm guessing it's just because it takes a while for audience to pay themselves back. The culture output is it's very nice that you can kind of if you're the only thing that you want to do is go for a developing culture, you can get there with just a shrine or a religions or even like culture events and stuff like that, harvesting. So audience really only start getting like really impactful once you go for the strongs and legendaries instead of just going for weak or developing. Or rather, if you want to go from weak to developing, you don't really need an Odeon, but if you want to go from developing to strong, and especially from strong to legendary, then Odeon start getting really good. To phrase that in a more sensible way. Oh, an opportunity for a free chariot. These are some of the events that I don't really see super often, because I don't tend to pick epics that commonly. But does have some really nice options, especially the bottom one with the free science, but requiring an inquisitive tag trade is unfortunately not an option for Carthage. Did decide to go for affable instead of intelligent as their starting trait. While Egypt did get intelligent of an event or a level up. I'm not completely sure which. Oh, and there's an Egyptian scout dying here. Can Carthage pull and units somewhere? No. So this will live to see another day. Would have been a pretty big win for Carthage to get this one. Oh, and I lost this scout at some point. It has been refound, so Carthage does have their both of their starting scouts still alive. Let's see. I haven't really looked at the sea yet. So, oh, these are some really funny nets here. I don't think none of these sea resources will get harvested during this game. They are just so far away from any city. But it's also I don't really see any naval innovations happening this game. The cities are far enough from the coast, aside from this one city here, but even then it would take so many boats to anchor to actually get units over that way. There's some yeah, I did not see that ambition was on earlier, but it is on. I'll actually send them a quick message and see what they think about that. Let's see what the let's see what the players say about that. I don't remember it and bringing it up during the setup of the match. So the game is paused for now, and we are seeing if what the players think about this one. Does seem from what Jams is typing that it might not have been intentional. Yeah, and the players have decided to continue on nonetheless. Yep, the game will continue. It definitely seems like it was unintentional during the match setup, but the players have decided to still keep on playing. I wonder if it changes anything though. Egypt is 1 out of 10 and Carthage is 2 out of 10, but they need to do an opulence project in this radar seat. Yeah, I do agree with what Fluffy is saying in chat that there's basically no chance of um this game actually ending with ambitions. I don't actually know how the ambition conditions scale with map size and player numbers. I assume some of the numbers get a decent bit smaller than they would be on a bigger map. Because I don't think I've ever played a duel map with ambitions on. I was wondering that because the last game that I won in single player with ambitions was that my last ambition was to send 20 luxuries to, uh, well, somewhere, anywhere. And I don't think this map even would have 20 luxuries on it. On like half a map. Okay, interesting. So there is no scaling for ambitions, so they just are always the same. I do quite like the... Okay, so impossible one, so the game will check that if it's actually impossible to do, then it won't be offered as an option. But military drill going for Carthage makes a lot of sense with a Zealot era now, so stockpiling, training, it's a decent bit of extra value. I would like to see some of this training be used on something though. If it's either force marching or upgrading units or anything that you can figure out to do. Just have option to either spread religion or to find a theology. I assume this is just to spread the religion around for the free culture. Interesting that none of these wonders have been gone for yet. There's always Ishtar is available, and I do love building an Ishtar. Even on, especially now that Carthage has 7 cities, Egypt will also have 7 cities soon. Well, not that soon, but somewhat soon. Looks like this was a event raid from the tribe, because it went straight for Carthage instead of actually defending the city site against the Egyptians. It's unfortunate for Carthage, gotta say. Carthage does not have eyes on the camp either, so there would be a good chance to pull some of the units down and try to contest this, but I don't think Carthage can go for it with the amount of the information that they have available on them. Ouch. This is having to having to either sell stuff to get this money to pay or get foolish. And having foolish as in intelligent is just so feels so bad. The starting leaders, both players still have their starting leaders. One was it was a cultivator scholar, got intelligent of an event later on, but I assume it's because of these 2 farms in the capital going for a landowner's cultivator for that extra synergy. And for Carthage it was a affable builder. Affable builder and started with artisans as first family, so he's just building every improvement in 1 turn or 2 turns here. Every urban improvement. Carthage has gone for Zoroastrianism, but has also adopted it now. As the state religion did not go for the theology, but decided to spread. But spread where? Still standing. Has not moved. It's Alcaraz is saying that that Carthage is a bit cramped space-wise, but it's mostly because of these farm adjacencies that were put here. There's some space once by actually let's see. Do we have a shrine count? There's 1 shrine. I know there's one more. No shrine here. 1 more shrine here. So Carthage should have 1 more shrine, so they could put it here and start expanding into this empty spot. So it's you might not have a super good adjacencies, but you would have a lot of urban space here. For graphs, just go from the civics. Carthage is leading, makes sense with statesmen giving you some extra civics. For training, Carthage is leading by a lot. I assume it comes from their family mostly. Science, Egypt has been leading the entire game, and still is in the lead by a good 300 science, but 300 science total isn't a game-changing amount of science difference yet. Carthage is leading basically in every income. Stone would not be. The wood graph is kind of whatever at this point because neither player has lumber mills. But in orders, it's been neck and neck for the entire game. You can actually see that there's a one difference of 1 in total order production during this game. So very neck and neck. Dealing with the raid. Still doesn't see these units here, so actually does Egypt have a vision? No, because there is a light chariot with a huge amount of movement and a unit with route, so there would be an opportunity here for Egypt. But going back to the graph, for military, Carthage is leading, but it's a misleading advantage because basically all of this strength is from tribal units. Carthage has been building some military units now, but it's just, I believe, these couple of slingers and there's some warriors. Going for Elder Acolytes. I do quite like it with in a statesman seat. It's basically the same as getting an order, but or like the getting a decree, just getting that Elder Acolyte. Carthage was first picked. It's Carthage and then Egypt afterwards. But Carthage hasn't really upgraded these mercenaries that they bought, even with this training bank that they have. I believe this was already bought at 4 strength instead of being upgraded into a 4 strength unit. This is some responsible play from Jams, though, escorting the settler and protecting the city side with enough units to not be collapsed upon immediately. But it does mean that this camp up here is not being cleared and will not be cleared in quite a while. Because I don't think these 2 units can move away from the city anymore. Even some kids. The princess is a builder, loyal, humble, intolerant. Lots of stats though. 4-6 with even with intolerant is a lot of stats to get. Yeah, I won't do. There was a moment where it was looking pretty bad for Egypt, when Egypt was stuck clearing this camp for a really long time. But it seems like Carthage has taken their foot off the pedal, was content with having the 7th city, one of these contested sites, and didn't push any further beyond that. I think there was a decent amount of time where they could have just cleared this side as well, instead of leaving it to Egypt. But they have spent a lot of time just building improvements everywhere, so it's not that surprising that Egypt has got caught up in military presence, if not military numbers. not something that you really love to see as options for your second in line, diplomat or orator. Probably was hoping for a judge or a builder. I can pull up the improvement count soon. These are probably the only military moves here. I don't think these units are going down. Yeah, I guess with the problem is just with your second in line. It's not super the going well as an ambassador maybe, but I think there's more value in having a judge or even a builder or a military archetype as your second in line. But yeah, we can do the improvement check. So total pop Carthage is leading. Yeah, you can see that it just actually has double the specialists. More workers for Carthage, more. Well, the military numbers are kind of fake. Carthage has 8 mercenary units. Carthage has lost some units. Yeah, those were mostly 3 strength mercenaries. I don't think he has lost any actual units. The laws adopted Egypt has slavery and serfdom. Carthage has effects and vassalage. Kind of interesting that Carthage still hasn't gotten a single courtier this entire game. Yeah, but improvements, Carthage has 39, mostly rural ones, but also some shrines and some garrisons. No other urban improvements, no barracks or anything like that yet. Egypt has basically the same, like half the amount of urban or rural improvements, but some garrisons and some shrines. Though Carthage is one turn away from mill drill, so I would not be surprised to see some officers popping up soon. I do really think that I don't think you even build officers in this city anymore with this estates here. Even with 2 barracks and with 2 officers, it's still what +1 training compared to not having any improvement in the city. Yeah, and affable is definitely giving a lot of growth for Carthage. I don't like Alcaraz is saying that estates are a trap on small maps. Like I don't hate estates on principle. The orders are nice, the culture is nice, but on your military seat, military family seat is just like this city will never be able to produce units in a reasonable time. It did get to developing pretty quickly though. It's also nice for the affable extra pop that Carthage has, that he also has the food to actually buy or start building these urban specialists and upgrading them. I find it quite often that I start running out of food because I've neglected to build enough food sources in the early game to actually upgrade to those elder specialists with their high initial cost, with their leading down, we can see elder with their 80 food up front. Especially once you start rushing them out, it can get really costly in food. Egypt is going for combo. Was offered it or steel or a coinage. Interesting, yeah, because of the having navigation available. Yeah, we were looking at this early on. This queue has been here for the entire game, basically. It's wait a let's see, what's it? 4, 8, 14, 19, 23 turns of queued production. with 2 ranches. That means that this city would have the second rancher and then the 2 that you need for Judaism on turn, what, 50? Even the third turn, almost turn 60. And I think turn 60 for Judaism is a bit too late for it to be actually meaningful. Compared to this Zoroastrianism that was founded year 20. So there has already been 16 turns of benefits from having Zoroastrianism for Carthage, even if Carthage did not go for the state religion immediately. The law count is currently 2 for 2. Carthage has epics and vassalage, and Egypt has slavery and serfdom. But Egypt has been really low on civics the entire game, so it took a long time for Egypt to even adopt slavery. And the serfdom as well. Carthage going for drama instead of any of these. I think I can get behind it. At least it's good for the observer, because now we can get music when we spectate Carthage. Acolytes, workers. I'm not a fan of these stonecutter specialists. Just building these to get more tiles in the city. This one was... I don't love it either because it's a 2 mountain stonecutter specialist, so it's not a great one. But this is no adjacency stonecutter specialist just to get more tiles in the city. It's not... I don't really like these. Oh, I guess there's the mountain, the volcano here, but still. But the workers have moved away from Carthago, so no barracks going up there for in the near future. Let's see. Got that short extension on the turn. Good thing that there's enough income to start getting barracks up if Carthage really wants to. But I would still love to see. Oh, there we go. There's where all this tournament is. The Ishtar started this turn. Where actually is the worker that's building Ishtar? There we go, in the Statesman city. Oh, so this is what we love to see. Oh, there is an Egyptian scout here. Interesting. I don't think Carthage can pull any units to actually kill it because of the mountain range blocking the movement, but it's a funny place to put a scout nonetheless. Moving light chariots backwards and forwards, I'm guessing. Would not be surprised to see these barbarians start causing problems for jams at some point. But I do like the road here. Unfortunately, the one tile pasture strikes again, so it's actually not connected. I hate when it happens when This is the most common way it happens too, is that there's an improved tile under the city banner, and I'm too lazy to check with the connections tool whether I'm actually starting from the right spot, and then I have the walk of shame one of these workers back all the way to the capital and build the last piece of road that is missing. Yes, I have no idea if these guys will convert to a tribe either, if all the tribes are dead. I've seen it happen in a game where they did convert to a tribe, but then there were tribe alive in that one, so I have no idea how the mechanics work behind that. Let's see, are the garrison and barracks going up here? I'd really like a road going from this city if you want to build military units here. This reinforcement route is so long otherwise. It's interesting because of this. Yeah, that's just some events, but the Egypt will end up having a kind of a virtual or like a practical order advantage, order efficiency advantage over time with this roading to the front line. This was a bit interesting to see though with the road network how unfortunate the road network was for this map layout. I'm guessing it's because there's this volcano here that would block the usual the stream that would come from the down otherwise. Yeah, I don't see any naval play this map. These mountains will block it so badly, and the cities are so far away from each other that even if Egypt wants to send units here and shift them all the way to Malacca, it would be what 1, 2, 3, 4 by rail connections, 3 at minimum for this like if you actually want to go attacking that way. So I don't really see naval play. It's also really funny how all these sea resources spawned in a place that I don't think I'd be surprised to see any other than this one crabs we improve this entire game for sea resources. Which does lose some value for the artisans because they do get the cheaper ship units. Slavery events, but not the really bad one though. Whenever I see slave in the name of the event, I assume that it will lead to the slave revolt ones. And those slave revolt ones are some of the worst rebel events that are in competitive mode or competitive setting, because the competitive setting disables a lot of the random rebel events that you can get in the regular game. Also disables distant raids, so it's even safer to leave the site unattended there. Though I'd still love to see this settler. I would have loved to see the settler had turned earlier. Actually, what was built here? This is an ore miner specialist. This is a farmer specialist. So I do like getting the chariot is also completely reasonable. It did do some good work here, clearing the camp. But it's a shame that he had so few build queues available because it took so long to clear this site that the capital hasn't been able to just pump out settlers for the rest of the empire. Instead of building military units, it's much nicer to just build all your settlers in the landowners' cities with their extra growth, especially with this Nice granary here even. Building walls. Yeah, Jams definitely loves stacking up his build queues. Chariots, warriors. Jams could get steel if he wants to. So pre-building warriors isn't terrible. I'm assuming. No, it's not. Wood isn't even that expensive, so buying wood for chariots isn't even that bad yet. Hasn't given gems to the family. Let's actually say Egyptian family opinion. Fine, but not great. I do have to. I wonder. I should make a note to myself to see Carthage in 9 turns to see how many events he gets off that Ishtar. Unpopular is not good. Stressed is not good either, but it's decent and good. Bypass succession for over the zealot to aid diplomat. See. There is a points level is enabled, but no double from what I see. So no Ishtar bombing that way. It is definitely. It's just mean to send a scout to taunt you in the corner. It's not even giving any more useful info there, it's just begging to be killed at some point. Let's see. Do one day Carthage will go for another one though, because I think he'll get to yeah, after Ishtar finishes he will get strong culture in Carthage or Carthago. But I'm not really sold on any of these wonders in Carthago itself. The museum maybe, but Carthage has no specialists in it, so it wouldn't be a lot of science. And a lot of the benefit of the museum is the 50% science in one city. Yeah, well, this is. If I had to pick two of the most game-changing wonders that are in the game for Legendary, it's the Heliopolis and the Colosseum, and both of them are in the game, and there's an Artisan's Cap, so like there's definitely you could make a game plan of just beelining this to legendary culture and getting either of these. Colosseum probably because Zoroastrianism has been in the game for such a long time that Zoro will be really well spread compared to just shrines. Yeah, I assume there's drama in one, so I would not be surprised to see some Odeons being built in the capital. This is definitely looks like it goes. It's not going to go for any sort of a quick timing attack. Oh, these have been fully upgraded now. Amazon Cav and Nomad Warlords. It's a regular joke or like a jokey comment that this Amazon Cavalry is actually the real unique unit that Carthage has. Because it's kind of crazy how quickly you can actually get these out if you really focus on buying them. Elephant supply is bad on this map. There's only one here. This is the only elephant on the map. And then, of course, mirrored on the other side. So, Egypt, or rather Carthage, will only have 2 cities that they can get elephants out of. And one of them is the rider seat with that estate. So, this one can only rush, but if you want to actually build them somewhere, it's not. You don't really have a choice. It basically has to be this city. Oh, Rising Star tries to grab the throne. The full rebellion or the affable orator takes the throne. It's good stats, but I think I'd still rather have the king. Unfortunately, though, all of Carthage's military is far from these cities. It's these 3 cities, and none of them have any military units aside from this one elite marauder. Yeah, I believe it's two rebels per city and the minus 400 opinion. And you'll also lose the Rising Star. It's really unfortunate too, because giving the throne to these Rising Star also loses the zealot that you have in the pipeline. It's pretty unfortunate that you can't really see the family tree from this event directly. I do guess that it would remove unpopular from the current king. Oh, there we go. Actually, let's see the family opinion. Yeah, we still have this is still 5 friendly families cities. Well, 2 friendly families that have 5 cities, so this orator will give a decent amount of orders as the leader. I assume the old king was Barkid, so just getting some negatives, not out of positives. Yeah, it's debauched is unfortunate, but that's like it's just unhappiness. Actually, there's ambitions have now become legacies, so are there actually enough pastures for this 6 pasture ambition? There's one more possible. It's already upgraded. Yeah, he can get. Probably get that done. Oh, the heir wants a divorce. Some angry courtiers. This is a very nice air though. Would be even better with no competitive mode scaling. That's 7 discipline, but even with competitive scaling, it's still 112 gold from having the be even somewhat positive of the queen. Chariots, warriors, and walls. Absolutely no non-war building in the entire empire. And Jams has cancelled his ranchers, which is kind of interesting. He did not go for clerics, so there's no divine rule either. So it looks like Jams is just going with regular old paganism. It would be divine rule would be really nice with polytheism divine rule. Heliopolis being an option would be really nice this game, but I understand not going for the clerics family this game. Wanting to go for more mounted units with the riders instead. Actually, let's see what the inheritance is at the moment. Yeah, still keeps the same heir, because the new queen doesn't have any offspring of her own. And the old oligarch of the riders is dead. And the new one likes the new queen a bit better than the old one did. Interesting. I wonder if Carthage is actually planning to do something with these units. I don't think this would be enough to actually accomplish anything. And Carthage did get labor force, so they can go for either slavery or freedom. Oh, just harassing the worker. And they can actually kill it. I mean, this seems basically free to me. I don't think you lose more than one unit. For this. A bit awkward that these units are still stuck back here. But Carthage is definitely doing some military moves now. Let's see if it actually leads to anything more than just one dead worker. Interesting enough, Carthage does not have sight on this slinger here. So let's see if that comes back to bite him. Though it is quite nice too. These are basically fully fortified warriors now, so just forcing them to move is a small win in itself for Carthage. They have spent a lot of time just standing on these tiles fortifying, so breaking that feels like moving these units must not feel nice for Jams. I'm just leaving the camera here to see what Egypt decides to do. No units back here except for one warrior. So it's basically these units are the ones that are in place. So one slinger, two warriors, and two mounted units. A light chariot and a regular chariot. And decides just to fall back from the looks of it, unless this was a misclick. Yeah, and the worker runs away. So it is looking like just a free worker pickup for Marauder. I don't really see any revenge enacted yet. Actually does. Now I'm curious about this. Oh, Marauder does not know that Egypt is missing this one city from on the top of the map. So I think Marauder assumes that Jams actually has one more city than he actually does. But the road network is nice for Egypt, while there is no road network in Carthage's lands yet. Moving these units, especially from Panormus up to Tingis, is really takes a long time to move these units on these hills without roads. So, no, it is. Egypt is just taking defensive posture, not deciding to go for anything. But these moves were far back enough that I don't think Carthage can push further forwards, really. Nothing too impressive in the events. Interesting, so there was an option for combo for Carthage, but decided to go for Polis. It might be that they want to go forestry before they grab combo. Get lumber mills up beforehand. Oh, but they are still going in. I'm surprised about this one. Yeah, all these attacks do basically no damage. So I assume that these units will just get route chained next turn. If you go in, I would have liked to see one turn of moving these units forwards beforehand, and only then going in with the tribals. All these units here. Yeah, even these slingers still can't even kill this warrior. Not with ranger, at least. Is this? Yeah, it's a scholar general with 8 wisdom. Interesting. I'm surprised that she is not sitting in some city instead. With that +3 science. I don't see. I don't think this will end up going well for Marauder. He must have lost track where these mounted units went. Or rather, he didn't see this chariot last turn, so he doesn't know it's here. So this must be the only reason that he thought that this chariot just ran away somewhere, the light chariot, and he is not aware that this unit exists at all. Because this chariot with let's see, focus spheres can just, let's see how many units it could route chain here. Actually, the tactics don't look too good. I think it's 2 routes, but I don't think it's more. Yeah, I would need to force march some units. Oh, but this chariot does get finished, so this could actually get something done here. Yeah, nothing for those. Actually surviving because of Tough being here. This unit would have died without it. Yeah, I would also sacrifice this warrior to get rid of one of these tribal units. Probably this Amazon Cav is probably the most dangerous unit that Carthage has at this moment. Still only on 2 laws for Egypt though, so no. This Light Chariot is also kind of irreplaceable for Egypt at the moment. Yeah, this is just so unfortunate. This half a hit point short for routing. The lack of generals is still really showing on Egypt. I don't Jams has had a single landowner's general this entire game available to him either, just not like assigned, but so there's some options for them for the Riders family. It's one more thing why it was really unfortunate that this city was delayed for so long. Wait, but did I see? Yeah, there is a combo here, or rather an archer. So that will be in play next turn. Aha, that just feels bad. That was a 1 damage route. Then that's not. Then he can't even focus fire it down. No, because the only range unit attacked. Hmm. There was something here that you could have done with tactics, but I don't think this was it. Let's see if he wants to pull this chariot up, or if he decides to promote or add a general instead of pull it next turn. The good news for Jams is that there isn't that much damage either, so it might be that he still ends up trading a warrior for a slinger and a couple of these mounted units. Combat strike bloodthirsty if he has, so I think I would just take strike. Strike on my chariot. Oh, there we go. It went in as well. But there's not enough damage to actually kill these units for Carthage here, and because these are also mercs with only 2 movement, they can't even force march in. I don't believe. This might be 1 tile short. 2. No, this can actually attack once, but it's a force march. And the most valuable unit is in the city, so it's not dying either. Let's see. Force marching a slinger. Does have a lot of training backed up, so can afford to do this. Oh, I don't like this counter. This counter attack was unnecessary, I think. Even if Jams doesn't get this fight, even if this fight doesn't end up being decisive this turn, getting rid of these two Merc horsemen is still really nice if it happens. I think I would trade a lot of, like, if this ends up being a lot of 1-for-1 trades for, I think that's a win for Jams. If I had to pick a side. This is greedy though. I don't know. This seems. I don't. Getting officers up is good, but I don't think this is the time for an officer. But let's see. And I don't like attacking the city either. This not quite a kill, but would have been one closer to a kill. The scary thing here is that because there are two chariots here, there is a possibility for a route chain next turn again. So it looks like both players are kind of messing up their tactics. I'm looking at this. There is a chance of just going bowling and killing this, maybe even this. But I think you can get these three for certain. And then anything else is depends on the numbers, tactics. And there is also this combo that can be force marched in. But is that actually? Let's see how Carthage's reinforcements. These guys won't be helping because they don't have the movement. It will take them forever. This guy won't be helping because there's no roads coming from the. There's no roads here in the center, so all the reinforcing is really slow for Carthage from these back cities. So this is basically it. Carthage doesn't have. If Carthage loses, they won't be. Jams can't really push forwards because there are some units, but these units can't help in this fight. They would have needed to go forwards a couple of turns ago. But there's definitely some tactics for Jams again. Oh, rushing chariots, so Jams does have some reinforcement, and this warrior can move along these rivers. So that's also in the play. I don't like this. I don't like this attack because now the route chain is broken. You can't route through this unit anymore. I would have left it alive and gone through this unit first. But I think it was the only attack that was in range. No, this should have been in range as well. Both players are kind of messing up their tactics here. But it's very easy to mess up tactics, especially in Old World, because you get so used to having the undo button, so that it's kind of a luxury that you don't have in multiplayer anymore. Yeah, there's the route, but can't route through this unit anymore, so I have to just go for this one. The longer this fight goes on, the better it is for Jams, though. Because all the actually dangerous units are now dead for Carthage. The horse archer is dead, the mercenary horse is dead, the tactician slinger is dead. Like these units, like even if you had, you could give these units like infinite time and they wouldn't be able to kill this city with this light chariot on it. Even if none of these units existed, I don't think these 5 units could take the city from this light chariot. Especially with walls in 2 turns. But I do like this getting a promotion on this chariot before sending it in. he... Oh, this isn't... This actually can't rush, so they must be coming from back here. Rushed once. No rushing here. No rushing here. Yeah, interesting. I wonder what he actually got those couple of chariots from. But actually, let's check. How close are we to... I'm forgetting which city was. It was here. 5 turns for Ishtar. There is definitely a big culture advantage for Carthage if you just go through the cities. It's like this is the only weak city, I think. These two, but the other ones are developing, and most of these will even get close to hitting strong with when the Ishtar finishes. But I don't see this attack going anywhere anymore. You can probably get this chariot, but I think I'd run away after killing the chariot. It's always just so awkward trying to retreat from mounted units, especially these light chariots are just... If you commit, it's so hard to actually get out, because this can just chase you to the ends of the earth if it wants to. Luckily Carthage has enough of a reserve here, so Egypt can't really go to Panormus. Going for steel now. A bit unfortunate after all the warriors are dead, but could still get some use of it probably. Oh, not probably, definitely, but I'm not sure if it really solves any problems. I think I would have rather seen... Well, combo is not available, so makes sense that he's not going for it, but combo seems a more straightforward, long-term-ish plan here than going for access. Going for phalanx would have been even better because with the chariots, but sometimes you don't get everything that you want. It's the unfortunate thing that happens with, because Carthage has teched really evenly with all tier 1 techs and all tier 2 techs, so he doesn't really have the opportunity to recycle by grabbing a quick tech in between. So he kind of has to commit for these 5, 6, 7 turn laws at this point, or techs, not laws. Actually, what's my options? Sovereignty, metaphysics, architecture. I would have liked either of these better than steel, just to get the 4th law and go for elephants of your own. Instead of going for steel now. Let's see the other side again. Nice, getting blessed events. Actually clicking the some events beforehand and then going for the military moves. Interesting that these guys moved forwards now. I think that probably discourages Jams from actually following forwards after these units, but I'm not sure if they can actually help in taking the city. The unfortunate thing though is that this chariot is kind of stuck now. Because with these many slingers, it's kind of dangerous to move it outside the city. Oh, this is real aggressive. Interesting. It is pretty awkward how spread out these units are on this field here. Because the tactics aren't super obvious. Like around this city, it was. I'm not good at tactics, but I could see some lines on how to actually get units killed here. But with these spread slingers, it's much more difficult to see what to actually do to get these killed. Especially this Zealot is super annoying this turn. I don't think you want to commit both of these units to kill a single slinger. There's no route chain either, unfortunately. Yeah, or one HP short again. But again, I don't really see how Carthage can get more kills than just this warrior. I don't think he can kill this. Yeah, no way he can kill both of these units. He just needs to kill one of these. And even... No, maybe. With this slinger coming out, he can probably get these two units. But did lose a scout over here. Which is a sloppy play. I think having eyes on this city is really nice because of the river allowing for pretty quick reinforcement from there. Oh, but he's sacrificing this scout as well. I don't really like the scout sacrifices, but that might be also from having the observer point of view for this, because these attacks look much more dangerous when you're actually playing the game, as when you are commentating. Because from a commentator's point of view, it's pretty clear that even if um, Jams loses a lot of these units, he won't lose the city. Not in the short term, at least. But I don't. This is just. I would love if Gems built more units. That's one thing that Carthage is doing well, is just building units. Even if it takes ages for them to get to the front line, it's still better to build units than not to build units. Mm-hmm. It would be. Carthage would have loved to have their own route unit here as well. I think there was an opportunity to kill this unit this turn. Maybe not quite, probably, but it would have been pretty close, I think. Oh no, these are just 4 strength, so they don't do any damage. We don't need so many attacks to kill this. Oh, I don't think killing this is a reasonable thing to attempt, but this archer can die. If Marauder pulls all of these slingers to kill it. Doesn't look like he quite has the orders to do it, but... Yeah, needs 2 more attacks. This scout block does actually mean that it's a lot more awkward to actually get that last hit in, because this hill isn't close enough to get an attack. And this tile is blocked by the scout. I guess this would have still worked, but I think it would have meant like 400 training burnt for extra orders to get it working. But I think it's worth to kill this archer. Very scrappy fighting overall. Some questionable tactics, and this is basically like a skirmish that just escalated because I don't think Carthage was really super prepared to actually fight here. Like, fight an actual pitch battle, because all of these units are fresh recruitments and very low level, no generals, kind of just getting to the fight as quickly as possible. Yeah, I'm thinking this was a miscalculation. But he does have the training, so like he could have killed this unit, I think, if he really wanted to, but didn't really want to. Now it's away, and because this is one of the awkward things about not having mounted units too, is that Carthage, it's very difficult for Carthage to actually chase these retreating units. Interesting to see what Egypt decides to go for. Actually, let's take a quick look at the military graph now that the fighting's over. Yeah, this was definitely in Jams's favor, these fights. If he can hold the city to this. This is a somewhat scary amount of units now, but with both of the chariots dead. There is one extra one here, but Marauder does know that this exists because it killed a scout, so he might be able to play around it by using this unit as a blocker, for example, to block the route change even without having spearmen. But I do like this retreat from Jams. I think fighting here is just you're dead next turn anyway. I just wish this was a unit instead of a worker. Definitely getting punished by not having enough culture in these cities. Not being only being able to rush into cities is not great. What he actually have? Yeah, it's a diplomat, so no judge rushing in that city anyways. There is an opportunity for this worker to get one more road forwards as well next turn. So reinforcing this city is not impossible from here. So there are, if Carthage decides to push forward and try to take the city, which seems really likely from this positioning, There are tactics for Egypt again. I think there have been a couple of turns here where both players could have basically won this fight or have a pretty decisive turn with better tactics. But the queen is also dying next turn. What does the heir look like? She's the builder with lots of stats, but intolerant. Probably still better, I think. But I also kind of come back to a much earlier point is that the Queen of Egypt did get the event for the mysterious sword and decided to go for the sword cult. But imagine if she had kept it on herself and actually went to the field on this chariot, for example. Basically, like, this chariot would be one-shotting these units, I think, with plus 50% to this 6. It's crazy how much 50% is. Oh, this is a nice event. Possibility for elephants in this city. He only has 2 rider cities, so it's not the biggest thing, but still, it's another source for the Carthaginian unique unit. Yeah, nothing else. I'll keep it here so I can see what he chooses. But Carthage is also deciding not to really move anywhere, which feels like the worst of both worlds. I don't think Egypt has quite enough units to actually go for these units in the open here. I think Carthage also really wishes that they had their heir on the throne already. With the Zealot being... Zealot rushing would have been really nice with this city being developing and having Zoro. Would have had a lot more units in the fight. Still, only idiots available for Carthage. Actually... did not go for... I think he went for sheep instead of elephants. I think I would have went for elephants. Hope that you can get this city, get the elephants in this city with a project and be extremely greedy for the unique unit. But that's just playing for the maximum amount of elephants you can get, probably not the actual good play. New queen. Free archer is nice. But it's in the capital, so it will take a decent amount for it to get to the fight. Let's actually get this right event here. So we can see when they actually click it and pan over and see. This chariot has been a lot of value in this game though, because it's just sitting in the city, but because it's a 6 strength unique unit. All of these 4 strength units are kind of just staring at it, knowing that I can't kill it through walls. Oh, look at there's a lot of bad family opinion. I was wondering why Jams was running an influence mission. These barbs just keep walking around. Doesn't seem like they want to convert to a tribe because there are no tribes left on the map. I think this would be probably really close to when it starts happening or would have had a chance of happening. Going for steel now. After combo. With having forestry and coinage available as well. And order boost. I think there's something to be said about delaying the order boost for some time and then timing getting that order boost with the return that you actually try to push forwards to your city again. Order boost is a really nice plus 20 orders for one turn. So if you can time that one to coincide with your military action, there's a lot you can get done with it. One of these units not just defending. It's kind of unfortunate how small the Egyptian royal family is as well, because these incomes are not huge. None of these. I believe Carthage has pulled ahead in science now. Yeah, they have. Total science is still in Egypt's favor, but it's not a good sign. Training, Carthage has led the entire game and is still leading. Has basically had double training. Orders, neck and neck. Egypt has a small lead. Military score. Yeah, you can see that Carthage is just building more units than Egypt is. Because of the they are focusing on just pumping them out in basically every city. Actually, still, yeah, one more turn to Ishtar. I definitely want to catch all the development event that we could get from it. Might be just one actually, might two development events. Oh, I didn't notice that the light chariot has left the city, so this city might actually fall now. Depending on if the light chariot comes back or not. But it's definitely not a full commitment on the attack. Unfortunately for Marauder, kind of keeping these units reserve is that this scout sees all of them. So if this is a bait attempt on trying to get units to actually go fully in on these units, I don't think it's going to work. And even if it actually works and these light chariot and these regular chariot come barreling down, I think these units are just kind of close to dead at least. If you go from top to bottom with the chariot and then end up on either of on this tile, it's kind of difficult to get these units to attack it. Still in one does have a stockpile and training to actually upgrade units as well. But there aren't that many warriors on the field. So it'll be only one axe, I think, in the immediate future. Let's see what Jams decides to do. It's a surprisingly tanky. Yes, because they are on urban tiles now. So I check it here. 8 damage. 6 damage, so would need one more attack, so. Doesn't really have the opportunity to route chain yet. Thinking about it. But I don't think the Jams can go in when he decides to heal this bowman or archer. I don't think he has enough units to actually go for it, but let's see. Silphium, nothing amazing. Free disciple is nice. Legitimacy is also nice. Free stats or opinion. There's the Ishtar. Nothing game breaking from Ishtar at least. But still, it's always still ends up being an immediate 700 culture pop empire wide, so very nice. Getting strong here as well. I'd love to see navigation. Oh, actually, these are some tough choices. All of these are good. And I think I'd still go for navigation, probably. Just because the orders are so hard to pass up, but all of these are... You could make an argument for any of these. But navigation also gives the fourth law. So I think I would go for the fourth law and then get the elephants. Though this city still doesn't have elephants in its borders. There might be a route. No, it's only half a point of retaliation damage, so I don't think there's a neat route opportunity next turn either. This archer is a couple of points of movement short. Oh, that helps. If the unit steps into this tile, there's a definite route opportunity again. Because it can now be force march here. I would have... Oh, it's half health. I'm guessing Marauder decides to just heal this unit, but I like having these Zealot general units in middle of these unit packs to break up route chains with the I don't know if there's a name for these effects, but basically living on 1 HP makes route chaining a lot more annoying than it would be otherwise. I keep checking if Jams has decided to go for the top barb side, but there's no way he can spare the military at the moment. But now this chariot is now at 10 damage, so still the numbers look kind of awkward. Need more force marching than Jams has training. Yeah, it's this training income is currently the thing that is most constraining Jams going in and trying to do stuff. These units are just tiny bit too far away. Yeah, it's the ranged units Rhine in the Riders Cup makes a lot of sense. But it kind of looks like this city is just being abandoned. It's getting to the point where even if you get an unit into the city, it won't be enough to hold anymore with the low HP. Interesting to see what Jams decides to go for. Still only on 2 laws. Taking steel, which doesn't get you any closer to extra laws either. Does have this the monasticism mark is pretty optimistic at this point. I don't think Jams is getting to monasticism anytime soon. I'm both players are still really conservative in buying wood. It's only at 5.5 for this pipe price still. So I don't know if they are chopping all the wood that they need or just or if Jams is just not building chariots or even archers. This could be the archer, yeah. It could be. But I guess it's quicker to build it as a slinger and then upgrade it afterwards. So this city is taking 12 a turn, so it's dead next turn if Marauder wants to take it. But these if Marauder takes this city, I don't think he can really push forwards immediately, at least. Yeah, I guess this defensive position. Let's take how's the military graph going? Yeah, it's just this is like this is scary to see it completely flat. Even with no fighting going on, it's just that Jams is not finishing any units while Carthage is constantly getting new units. Yeah, and I do agree that Jams doesn't have the training income to actually upgrade into archers, or he has enough training, but he can't sustain up constantly upgrading into them. While Carthage has still this quite a large unspent training pool that he can tap into, but has decided not to. Still, the lack of roads is quite painful. And is it? I wonder what this rebel came from, because it's not from family opinion. Wonder if it's just from discontent. At least James is in kind of a trouble when Marauder gets access to spears, but at least James will also have access at the same time. So Phalanx is in 3 while Axis is in 2, so trying to push with spears into Axis is always kind of rough. But I'll have to take a quick bathroom break, so I'll leave the camera on and you can follow the action. And I have returned, and it seems like James hasn't really decided if he wants to go forwards or not. Hasn't committed to anything at least. Which does indicate to me that this city is probably going to fall next turn. Don't really. Yeah, especially when these units are being moved backwards and shuffled forwards and backwards. It definitely seems that way. And even moving the warrior to the barracks tile to get XP on it. Definitely a defensive move. Does not seem great for Jams at the moment. I thought it was going to be completely fine when, because I figured that he could hold on to this city for quite a while. But it seems like it didn't pan out that way. This is a lot of orders to end a turn with. Well, I guess he doesn't really have the training to actually use those orders anyways. Oh, nice. A Court Scholar opportunity. This is actually a lot of silence from this courtier. Yeah, and decided to sell stuff to get them as well. I assume that the setting file was for that. Has gone through their entire stone stockpile. I wonder if it's for mostly for barracks. Ah, classic. Not attacking with a melee unit last, so takes an extra action to conquer the city. There it goes. So now I'm kind of curious what will happen next, because pushing with this army that is basically only slingers is kind of scary against an opponent that you know has chariots. But it seems like if I was Carthage, I knew that I had the advantage in army size at least, so I would be tempted to push. So it's kind of interesting to see which direction Carthage and Marauder decides to go. But the queen is doomed now, which means that the zealot will be on the throne next turn, which does also mean that there is the possibility for training rushing next turn. Interesting. I really hope that Marauder will have a good use for that training rushing, and he's going for the opulence. Nice. It's always very funny to see what the legacies or ambitions make people do. Actually, how close is this? It's wrong. Doesn't seem like it's too close to a legendary. Yeah, that's that 118 turns is not a not a lot of culture to get to legendary. So it seems like this game is over before we get to see either Colosseum or the Heliopolis. It's just a bit unfortunate because those wonders are so super strong, but it feels like they come late enough that you don't really see them in these duel games. Alcaraz had the opportunity to build a Colosseum, but I believe that game also ended before that one was built. But I think that was basically the only game that had both a legendary city and the Colosseum available. There is the ziggurat, the Jebel Barkal, and the museum. What is the museum going up actually? Here in the Philinorum. Interesting. It's not going to be a lot of science, which may always is interesting because I consider that to be a big bonus of the Jebel Barkal. Sorry, not the Jebel Barkal, the museum. But this will be what three temples for one, two, should be the whole city, so 3 cities, 4 cities. I don't. He could probably get a free temple in one more city uh, by moving or spamming disciples, but I don't think he can get free temples in all of these cities, all 3. Also, weird not to have Zoro in this Rider city when it also already has developing culture, almost has strong culture actually, and could start rushing from there. Let's see if there's anything. A free acolyte. Nice. Judaism is still not been founded because, yeah, these orange specialists never got built. Moving units forwards, but not really going for any actually aggressive plays. Just kind of getting units closer to the front line. I heard something die as well, but I assume it was here. taking a lot of time to think through these end of turn decisions. Still quite interesting that with floating 900 civics I'm not adopting either of these. With almost no stone in the bank, but I guess the income wouldn't be... Well, it's still a decent amount of income from 7 cities for slavery, and the mineable chance from freedom is always nice. Getting a storm event as well. I do really like how the storm starts approaching from the edge of the map. One of the cooler visual effects in the game. Mythology is interesting, but I guess I'm guessing he got it free from some event or something. I'd be surprised if he picked it, actually picked it. Egypt is starting to get a decent amount of chariots up again. 3 is close. 3 is enough to actually get stuff done with. Very far from 7 loss. This is Jams is at 2. Taking a free ballista, so not getting any closer to 7 either. The Jams went for both steel and combo here, so I'm going for mill deals trigger combo, and now the free ballista is a lot of turns of not getting closer to any loss. Rushing archives is interesting. Especially without Gnosticism. I guess it's a bit faster in a Sager city with the +2 civics. This might be the most barbarians I've seen from one regular camp. It is kind of interesting that there have been no raids from this camp. I'm guessing that the events just never fire from regular camps. There are no tribes or something. I haven't really looked into it how those things work. Yep, and there's a new queen for Carthage, which is a zealot, which is doubly terrifying because Hari production with training. This very powerful. All the Hari productions are really powerful, and you get an extra fatigue limit with your mercenary units, with your slingers, so you actually can attack forwards now without it costing an infinite amount of time to move these units forwards. Spearmen, axemen, still building some areas in up there, and let's see actually still no roads, so these units will move forwards really slowly. I'd love a road between these two cities, or like a triangle here or so, anything, just for mobility. Yeah, I figured. Regular barbarian tribes raiding is probably one of those things that is a confirmation bias of seeing like distant lands raids or tribal raids that come through barbarian sites or stuff like that, instead of actual barbarian raids. Oh, free religion conversion for the zealot as well. Always nice. Family opinion is not great though. Not terrible, but not great. And actually, this will be interesting to see. The Orator died, which means that Carthage went from 26 to 20 orders. So the Orator order boost was actually really noticeable as well, with the good family opinions. Oh, James is saying that he saw this scout move into these woods, I assume. Zealot is really good with these mercs though. Getting the plus the extra movement matters a lot more when you go from 2 to 3 than when you go from 4 to 5 or even 3 to 4. Not that going from 4 to 5 is still really good, but still, this is like a huge mobility increase for these units. I'm surprised how meaningful they have been anyways, considering they are just 4 strength units. Worse warriors in many ways. Oh, basically, all the ways, but still. Not having to actually use build queue time to get them is still very valuable. The biggest cost with them is always that do you have enough orders to actually order them, move them around? And if the answer is yes, then having even these 4 strength units that are kind of useless in combat already, they are still very useful in blocking and being annoying and needing enemy orders to get rid of. I'm so confused by this chariot just shuffling around. Oh, I guess there was a range here now, so it moved on to the range. Oh, that's sweet. Plus 10 EXP per year. Only 30 turns for the next promotion. But I guess the problem is, again, that Jams doesn't really have the training to actually spend orders on anything more militarily productive than just shuffling around units for marginal benefits. Actually, it does. Yeah, and Carthage does have a vision of these chariots, so they are not hiding. Or hidden either. A bit unfortunate. So I think Carthage is aware of all the units here. I don't think they will overextend into attacking the city either. Lots of events. Let's see. Annoying earthquake, but doesn't seem terrible. Not like it hit all the army or anything. Oh, free training. It's kind of crazy how much this event gives you free science if it happens. Monasteries, calligraphy, or disappointed. Not huge. I wonder, I'm guessing this would go to the riders, but I'm not 100%. Riders seem the obvious choice, with it being a frontline city where you probably want to build military anyways. Oh, and now these units are getting upgraded. I would like to see the Queen in a spear unit here. So you could try to fish for the end list on any of these chariot units. Or even better on the light chariot. Yeah, and Marauder is still pushing forwards. Trying to get something. Put more pressure on Jams. I'd like to start to see these units getting rushed here. Even the spearman is already worth rushing, I think. In 6 turns it's probably too late to actually participate in the fight if you are positioning so aggressively already. I think you go in like 2 or 3 turns here. So I'd like to see the spearman get rushed here. Still isn't. Yeah, I didn't decide what family to give this. Still no camp on these elephants. Going for spoked wheel instead of the 4th law. I think I would have gone for navigation and grabbed the 4th law. Build the camp here, start by rushing elephants with training. Or even civics with this big civics bank. Because you don't see, or there have been no spearmen from Egypt that you have seen. So there's not a lot that could probably stop the elephants. And the elephants are really annoying when you can start pushing enemy units away from these river tiles and messing up the positioning in other ways anyways. The power grab for military is still Carthage has a big lead, but Jams is building more units than he was earlier. This is still probably 2 units finishing on the same turn. But I assume that it will keep climbing in Carthage's favor with when you just look at this build queues where it's Axeman coming, then Spearman, then Axeman, then Warrior, which will be upgraded to an Axeman. And there's only 1 Archer and 1 Slinger in Egypt build queues. You can definitely start to see the difference in cities and city timings start to get compounding now. Carthage does have some public order problems now with Carthaginian paganism not being a fan of the queen. And these families all being pagan instead of Zoroastrian. Yeah, I do like how these ranchers are still 6 turns for a rancher, then axe or rancher axe, which would be Judaism founded eventually. It's the... You actually... Ah, no, civics. Classic. Yeah. It's... And the scientific is saying that Marauder's tactics are very hammer-like, where you just get a lot of units and then you hammer forwards until you hit a wall, and you either break through the wall or then you get stopped and you kind of lose your momentum and lose. But I think the hammer is definitely going to be the right tool for this game, from what I've seen. The only worry I have that this is so many kind of weak units that the orders will be stretched really thin. But even that is going to be helped by a lot by this couple of spearmen and these axemen, that you have some units where you can be like technically like having 2 slingers is more combat strength than having 1 spear, but the spear is just so much. Moving this one spear and attacking is so much more efficient in terms of orders and tiles and makes tactics easier and stuff like that. So like having concentrated power in a couple of units lets you be more order efficient in combat, which is one of the reasons why this ballista, this single ballista, which is in quote marks just 6 strength, is much more valuable than even 3 of these archers. It's just how much it concentrates your combat power in a single unit or a single place in a single moment in time, which is how you actually win these combats is by concentrating power in a certain point and trying to just get all the advantages you can in that point. Oh, but I do like this. He saw these units here, so his Marauder is now going northwards. So these units that are holding here have to decide whether they want to hold or they want to go for Shedet and defend it. I'm a big fan of creating these kinds of problems for the defender as an attacker, because when you have to respond to this kind of indirect pressure where you can't do combat tactics immediately, and it gives a lot of opportunities for the defender to mess up. It also gives you a lot of opportunities to mess up as the attacker, but it's in many ways it's less risky than just trying to bulldoze through the city. Also, it's much more order inefficient for the defender to actually try to, if he tries to attack the attacker in this field, it will take a lot more orders than fighting in this open area in front of the city. So I'm a big fan of these kinds of maneuvering plays, even if this one might not work out immediately. Especially because Marauder does not have vision on this archer that was just got on here, or an upgraded slinger. Kind of disappointed to not see any rushing yet. Training rushing. Or was this rushed? No. This bank is big enough that I think when you have the opportunity to rush with training, it's probably the best use of your training. At least a couple, 2, 3, even 4 first training are just so. The timing you get from that is just so much that I consider it better value than basically anything else you can do with training, aside from maybe appointing generals and then force marching if you if it can get you a kill or get you route chains. But like this spearman could be fighting basically. If it was rushed last turn, spawned this turn, it could be also already on this hill or something with a zealot on the throne. And having an extra spearman would be really big for Egypt. But yeah, this is where we end for today. I'll take my own save of this one. An interesting start. Definitely a good showcase of how strong Carthage is opening can be, because this city was founded really early, with Carthage getting a lot of mercs and then leveraging these mercenary marauders to even take this city from Egypt. Well, Egypt has definitely been less. I don't think Egypt's bonuses have come into the play in the same way as Carthage's have so far, where a lot of the biggest thing was this light chariot that did a lot of work in the initial defense of this city, but it didn't end up being enough to actually hold this one in the end, which is a bit unfortunate. I think this is definitely ending in Marauder's favor, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is where we end for this session, and let's see when the players decide to pick this up again. I'll end this stream here soonish, and I'll go grab something to eat, and then I'll see if my voice can handle casting the second game of today. It seems like that one didn't have anyone ready to cast it either. But thank you for all for watching, and I'll see you next time.